see a green light.
It's a very low tech, high tech system.
How do we know for
Well, Facebook will.
We're on. We're on. Okay.
Great.
All right. Well, hello everyone. So I am Amy Martin. I am taking control of the meeting. The mayor is still out on medical, and Teresa, she couldn't make it tonight. Donna, who is our interim VA, road administrator, she had a family emergency, so unfortunately it's not here tonight, but we will all persevere and get through. So, welcome all. Welcome to the September 10th, 2025 work session of Mayor and Council, Borough of Glen Rock. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act. This meeting was noticed in the Bergen Record, Star Ledger, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and posted on the borough website, and has remained continuously posted as per the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. So, welcome. Jack, guess we have to call it roll.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Gilbreth? Councilmember Orlick?
Here.
Councilmember Call?
Here.
Councilmember Rosansky?
Here.
Councilmember Rosenstein?
Here.
Okay, so we don't have a crazy meeting tonight, which is amazing. So just want to start at the top of our agenda. We have the calendar to get ready for, and like to see if anyone is open to doing the calendar for next year. Any takers? Oh, you already have Maureen? You were.
I've been a little bit looked into it already.
Yes.
I'm happy to do
That's what I heard.
so,
I heard.
um,
Okay,
I will
thank
take
you.
on the calendar.
And
yes.
everyone is here to help, okay?
Absolutely.
And are you going to think of themes or?
We have a theme set already
Okay.
for next year,
So
since it's
what
the
is our
200,
theme?
since it's
Oh,
the
right, it's
250th
250th
anniversary, we're
anniversary.
gonna use the 250th anniversary, have some historical photos and things that will be
You
included.
used the big word, that was the big word.
The
Oh, and
plus
that-
was Centennial.
It's been too long of a week for me to use the big word.
It's
It's been quite the week. Finally got all my kiddos off to school, and full days finally.
Okay,
So,
so do, is that, you're just taking it on yourself, or do we?
I believe I'm gonna rope in Jill as well.
Well, it's
Okay.
always through community affairs
Right.
and
Yes.
for, right, so Teresa has been working, I think, with Kathleen Walter of the Historical Society to get the pictures together. And then community affairs will work with Jackie, is always super helpful with getting all the meeting dates and recycling dates and all that, so.
And then we need to, as liaisons, make sure that everyone gets their
Their
groups
meeting
and their
dates.
meeting
Yes,
dates
so
and all that.
that's the
Dates.
ask for this meeting, is if
Mhm.
everyone can go at their next committee meetings for all of your committees and reach out to, any departments that you work with, or, you know, fire department, whatever, for dates for next year. I guess not fire department, that was a bad example, but anyone who meets, get their meeting dates for 2026.
I did send an email around to like the department heads, planning, zoning,
Mhm.
rec. I did already send an email asking them for their dates.
Okay, so do we have any more, do we have any questions or discussion on the calendar? Anything else we need to talk about? Pretty simple, I feel like it's early. It's early this year.
I feel like it's a big project to take on.
It
I'm
is,
happy
oh,
to get
I'm
started.
glad. Thank you.
Well, the one timing issue, just so people are generally aware, is that the graphic designer who we work with, who does it for us every year and really has like the template down and all down to a science, she's apparently away on vacation, some ridiculous, like end of October until basically Thanksgiving, which to me seems very stressful for doing the calendar. But so I think the idea is that we'll get her as much as we can as far as the photographs and stuff before she goes on vacation, so she can get that set, and then have everything in place, the dates for when she gets back. So that's the time.
Sounds good. Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
If you would entertain a comment about the calendar,
sure, of course.
there were people in town in the northwest section of town last a week ago, today's Wednesday, a week ago, Tuesday before, 8 days ago. Because we're creatures of habit, everyone puts out their heavy trash Tuesday night before the first Wednesday. But this month's calendar shows that the heavy trash pickup Northwest was the second Wednesday. So at 8 days of, say for example, I live on Midwood, 89 Midwood, I'm Thomas Ludlam speaking. It was essentially the street became Trashwood because there were 8 people had trash out for the whole week. Now, they're not bad people, it was just because people were creatures of habit. So when you do the calendar and you have a heavy trash day on the first and the third Wednesdays, don't vary from that, please, because it makes it hard for everyone to live in trash land. Or trash rock.
Just switch this.
So we normally always do try to stick to that same schedule, is why you're used to that schedule, because it's what we really try to stick to. And I don't remember.
It doesn't matter
why
what
we
happened,
had
it's just that
to
in the next calendar should always be the first is my
No,
recommendation.
maybe because of Labor Day, I don't know, but right, we do.
No,
try
Labor
to-
Day is not on a Wednesday, Labor Day is on a Monday.
Right,
No,
but
but I
then
think
it
the
shifts
Monday,
But
everything
the
shifts
Monday-
to Tuesday.
Well,
Whatever
don't
the
shift that.
specifics were, we
Well,
take
Labor
your point
Day,
and we do try to stick.
we don't have,
It shifts
sanitation
and
pickup
everything, yeah.
on Mondays, Labor Day, so.
But maybe we should have just been more proactive and put out a public announcement.
Remember.
You should leave it always on the Monday, no matter what Labor Day is. Because you can work around that and skip one, because we get ours skipped some holidays anyway. And I suppose Southwest does too, or Southeast rather.
We do.
That's all I want to say about that. Excuse me.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Okay, so Jill, do you want to talk to fire prevention, a few changes in the fees?
I do, yeah.
And,
I just want to find my notes here, and I want to give everyone, because this has changed just a little bit, so I'm gonna,
I gave both. They have
yeah,
both.
it's in there.
they have,
They
yeah.
have the original one and then they have the one that you know. So they have both.
Okay. Okay, then I won't get them. So these, Maureen and I met with, Fire Prevention Office at their request because they have told us that it is time for them to update their inspection fees. Apparently most towns update these every 3 to 5 years, and ours have not been updated since 2003. So it seems to be time. So they put together this fee schedule based on Ridgewood's, and suggested that we just go with that. And then the only change I think that they made to that is you'll hear as we go through this, recurring issues with people just seeking a permit very last minute and expecting them to be able to do it, which is very difficult for them because they're part-time employees and they need a schedule. So anyway, if you request within 5 days that you need the inspection within 5 days, they would like an additional $40 fee, and within 48 hours, they can't do it. They have to deny the application. So you need to apply for your permit in advance.
So I have 2 different things on here. The front page of this one.
Right,
talks
this
about
is the
fees.
current one.
This is the current.
This is,
Which one is the current one?
that does not have the 2 paragraphs anymore.
So this one, David's.
That is current, yes.
And Jill, you were going to mention houses of worship.
And then, right, thank you. So as part of this also, currently, as far as houses of worship, okay, I think I need to explain a little bit more. There are businesses that are called life hazard businesses that pay a fee to the state, and the state does the inspection. And then there are non-life fee businesses that pay their fee to us, and we do the inspection. So houses of worship that have a school, which I believe are Glen Jewish Center and All Saints, and I can't remember if there was one other.
St. Catherine's.
St. Catherine's apparently is different because they're actually licensed as a separate
I did ask
entity.
specifically
Yes,
about
we
that.
did.
What is that, community church?
Maybe. But anyway, so those houses of worship that have a school are permitted by the state and don't pay anything to us. But all the other houses of worship in town currently, we do not, we inspect them the same as we inspect every business to make sure that they're safe, but we don't charge a fee, which apparently most towns do, and our fire prevention officers feel that we should charge the same fee that we charge to other businesses since we do the same inspection. If you look on here, we start imposing the same fee that we do on any other business based on square footage.
If I can ask, do we know how many houses of worship we have in town? Does anyone know?
I don't.
I'm just trying to gauge whether it makes sense to break with what we've done and impose, I know it's a small amount, but to impose on our houses of worship when it's probably not that big of a burden for our professionals just to go out and do it.
Well, some of our houses of worship already do pay, so it's unfair.
That's what seems sort of unfair to me, honestly.
I mean, I'm in favor of making it across the board. I think that it's not a huge tall order, and they are covering the cost of the, otherwise what the borough would have to.
It's a very reasonable point.
But, I mean, it's up for discussion. I mean, we
Right.
certainly don't have to, but because it's not already blanket across the board for all houses of worship.
Jill and Maureen, do you happen to know, other than Ridgewood, what other municipalities in Bergen do? I'm not expecting that you looked into it, I'm just curious.
Well, we did have a comparison of a few other towns.
They gave us some, yeah, so their dollar amounts were based on Ridgewood's, but I can look at what else they gave us. That I believe we emailed to everyone, but I'm honestly not sure. So these, I'm looking at Wyckoff's, which are like, oh, I see, they're flipped at the top and the bottom. Similar, for the smallest square footage, theirs are 75, ours are 80. That's Wyckoff. Woodcliff Lake is 100, where ours are 80. Paramus is 100, where ours are 80. That's Ridgewood. Montvale, the lowest is 85, where ours are 80. And that's all. So it seems like a pretty
certainly
comparable or,
And
a little
reasonable.
lower than most of them.
Absolutely, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for doing the work on this, I appreciate it.
And so that is it for the business inspection fees, unless anyone has any questions.
So the vacant spots, are they just gonna pay? the
Yes,
standard fee?
yes, because they do currently, and no other town exempts them, I'm not sure where that came from, but it
Mhm.
seemed like we should just leave it
Okay.
as we have it. Okay, and then this permit fee schedule is for food trucks and tents, like if someone has an event and wants to bring in a food truck. Currently, we charge the minimum required by the state, which this type 1 permit, apparently, that's really all we do. We don't do anything but the type 1. We currently charge $54. They feel that it's just easier if it's $60 as a round number. So they're asking for that. I'm sure that nobody feels too strongly for the $5, either way. But they would like us to change it to the $60. And they're asking that again, if people need it in less than a week, they want a $40 fee to expedite it, and that you have to request it at least 48 hours in advance or it will be denied. And that again is just because they really can't schedule it without notice.
So these, if they get, do these two lines coincide with this or this? Inspection or
With
permit?
the permits,
It says
but they
inspection.
did say the same thing about the inspections. You're right, I don't know why it doesn't say it on there for the inspections, but the idea is that it would be for both, that if you request it less than a week in advance, you would pay.
For either of these.
Yep. Yes.
So our fee from 2003 was $54.
So the 2003 was the building inspection fee. I don't know when these permit fees date
Oh,
from.
'cause I was gonna say that's about as low, as small as a fraction of inflation.
That's true.
Or cost of living, 20 years, like
That's
$5.
true,
It's
but I don't
amazing.
know when those
Yeah,
were set.
okay. Yeah.
Unless it's uncodified, it looks like from the notes in your code that it's 2003.
It does.
Wow.
It is, wow, that's amazing that it only went up
And it
less than
had,
$5.
right. Okay. And then the
How come this
last,
hasn't knocked on our door in 20 years? It seems strange, don't they usually fire inspection? I mean, boy, it seems strange that we haven't.
that we haven't heard about this in years, I agree, but it
It's
does
really
seem to
strange.
be time to update,
Oh, well, I think so.
right?
It's like amazing.
Okay, and then the last piece of this is, this is for when you sell your house and you need to have your smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms, and fire extinguisher checked. So here, there's a substantive change as well as a fee change proposed, because apparently the state of New Jersey has stopped requiring people to have fire extinguishers mounted by their kitchen. And apparently towns are starting, since the state is not requiring it, towns are starting to walk away from that. And both our fire chief and our fire inspection officer both felt that it's really safer for people not to try to put out fires by themselves. If there's a fire in your kitchen, get out of the house and call 911. And so they are recommending that we eliminate the fire extinguisher requirement. You have a fire extinguisher?
Well, like, yeah, I have two.
Well,
Two.
good, but if there was a fire, and you might wanna call 911. That's the wisdom.
They're recommending not to have.
So they are
fire
recommending, well, not having it, but not requiring it, and really,
So many people don't even know how to use the fire extinguisher.
Exactly.
Once they have it, they
That's true.
panic and,
Assuming it's even still charged from all the years prior when you
Right.
bought it.
right.
right,
That's-
exactly.
Yeah, they do need, I think they need.
I know,
to
after
inspect
this
it.
conversation, I went home and checked my fire extinguisher in my kitchen. I was like, let me make sure this is up to date, just in case.
I will, they mentioned, I had never heard of this, but apparently at Home Depot, whatever, they sell like heavy blankets that you can just throw over a fire, that they thought those actually are much better than fire extinguishers. I might buy one of
Yeah,
those.
yeah, interesting, that's good information.
Yeah?
I wonder if we.
I
when
just
is
think
fire
we should do
prevention
like a
month?
little PSA on like
October.
Yeah.
the blankets and things.
October.
Yeah,
Big
we should,
fire.
that's a really, is October fire prevention
That's
month?
what
I
I.
thought it was, but.
So are we changing this language?
Maybe
So
we
that
should.
would be the
I
proposal,
can
right, would be to
do
get
Yeah, but
rid
I'm
of
not
the
doing
fire
another job.
extinguisher
Yeah,
altogether.
Fire prevention month.
It is indeed
Yes,
October.
this is whatever
So
we
perhaps-
agree on
Because that's new,
tonight,
we've
then
never
we can prepare
Yeah,
it, but
no,
it
I'm
didn't.
fire
happy that
prevention
you
month
still
about
talk to the fire
Just
department
needs some
about that.
clarification, I don't understand.
That would be
Give a little
tremendous.
spiel about it.
Give a little spiel, perhaps we put it up on the
So
board in
as
front of
I'm
our.
We always have a
Yeah.
proclamation about fire prevention.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
proclamations are wonderful.
No, no, but I mean, that they
Business
state like
inspections
all
are
the
done
things that
every
you can
January.
do.
Oh, for
Right.
sure.
Nobody requests
Okay.
it.
By blanket.
So maybe it's not really for that, maybe
Can't
it's
figure
for
it out.
these cheap things.
Yeah.
But I will clarify with them.
That's grease in the
Yes,
kitchen.
that's what it is, but it's for this and for this, you have to request, because the business inspections aren't requested, it's an annual.
this is a permit for.
Right, so I'm telling you, I'm telling you that it's for food trucks and
Yeah,
tents,
yeah,
but you're
gotcha.
right, that in the ordinance, obviously, that would have to come.
Yeah, I know, it goes
Oh,
Yeah, and that would be good for,
Right, so
fire
maybe
prevention
highlight
month
this
too,
change.
and, yeah, to highlight the change about fire extinguishers, the recommendation. That's good. I think that's big news.
Right, I know, an actual change. Okay, so are we all agreed on that we can stop requiring fire extinguishers when you sell your house?
If that's what our life safety experts are recommending,
That's what
I
I
think
feel.
we
But do we
defer
have
to
to
them.
codify that somehow, or like?
I think all of this has to be codified, so the idea for the work session tonight is if we can all agree on it, then we can try to
So
codify
then what,
it for the next.
for that, where on this does it say anything about fire extinguishers?
Back here.
Back.
Oh, right, so that
So the
means,
fire
but we'll
extinguisher
need
piece would
language,
come out of it.
but we should explain that, don't you think?
There must be an applicable ordinance that says there has to be a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah, so that would have to be amended.
Okay. And then, as far as the fees, for now, the smoke alarms and the carbon monoxide alarms, for, right, you have to have that inspection before you sell your house. That has always been done by the building department per New Jersey state law. And that law is now changing so that the fire inspection officer has to do it, or the fire inspector has to do it.
Not the
So-
building inspector.
Not the building inspector. So now the fire inspector wants to set up a fee schedule for that, because now they have to send their inspectors to go look at that. So they are requesting that it be $100 fee, which is what the building department currently charges. And then again, putting in a higher fee for expediting it if you don't request more than 10 days in advance or more than 3 days in advance. And then, sorry, the one last thing is if you fail that inspection and need to be inspected again, there will be a $50 fee for the re-inspection, if they have to come back and look again.
By the fire inspector.
By the fire inspector, yes. And under New Jersey state law, this piece of it, the smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm fees and setup, has to be in place by June of 2026.
Okay.
So plenty of time for us to do it now, but that's why that is now being put on the table. So does that all make sense? Does everyone agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah? Great. Okay,
So
so,
we need a motion to change that ordinance, or?
No.
no? Okay,
Just, I'll move forward with the draft and circulate it to you for comment.
perfect.
Ahead of introduction, hopefully at the next meeting. So
Perfect.
everybody has time to review and they get comfortable with it.
Thank you.
Convenience. Okay, so, the last topic, is just a simple one. This is the, we were all, sent an email from the Girl Scouts, asking about, doing a project at Hamilton, obviously the Hamilton Shack. And, just for the record, stating here on the record to the public that, the council does not have, or the borough does not have jurisdiction for that project or to authorize that project because it is on Board of Ed property. So the Board of Ed, so the Girl Scouts will have, they've already been informed that they need to go before the Board of Ed to ask permission for that project. But we did want to state that if, for some reason, they decide not to do it there and they are looking for a place on borough property, as we have done in the past with the Boys and the Girl Scouts, we'd be more than happy to accommodate. So, we wish them the best. And, that's that. I don't know, before we go, well, we can go around the table, but I did want, well, Jill and I have spoken, I think when we go around, we'll bring up that issue, public safety. I don't have anything now. I'll talk about 9/11 ceremony tomorrow, but I'll put that out in public. So we'll go around the table, see if anyone has anything that they want to discuss.
The only thing to discuss would, for me anyway, would be the shared services concept that we've spoken about at one point, and perhaps getting the ball rolling on getting a committee comprised.
Great. Yep.
So is there anyone here, and we'll certainly ask the two folks who aren't here, anyone interested in being involved?
Well, it should be
I'm sorry,
me.
this
I
is
obviously-
shared services for
This is
what?
for shared services for public works, so that would be me, and it should be the public works committee.
So
But are we
generally when we do committees, just
just under our form of government, the mayor
Mayor.
generally appoints, but
Okay.
obviously, you know,
But
getting
she did.
interest-
We
getting
talked
interest.
about
But
it
I'm
before
also
she
not
went
sure, are
on.
we up to this? Like, do we
Well,
know that
it's
we
in-
wanna pursue this as
it-
opposed
it-
to other ideas for
what?
the public works facility?
Well, this isn't necessarily just the public works facility, I think this is just an exploratory committee on, you know, working with Bob on, you know, where else there might be opportunity.
Yeah,
We already have a lot of opportunities, that we, I mean, a lot of shared services that we do, but,
To be clear, this isn't limited to, you know, shared facilities, which is something that we have talked about a little bit, and shared services. It's really exploratory. Where can we find efficiencies? Who can we potentially work with? What would make sense just to do the due diligence? There's also grants that the state of New Jersey offers to facilitate that. So it would be cost negative for us to the extent that we pursue those grants. So I think the due diligence part certainly coming first, and then the committee can present its findings and hopefully have something substantive to present to the governing body.
So can I make a suggestion? Especially since we have a new borough administrator coming in. Maybe we could like take a survey of all the department heads and see if they can identify within their own department, since they know the best, any potential sources of shared services. Anything that they think to themselves, hey, you know, this is something that could potentially be a shared service in another town, that we don't know those departments as intimately as they do. So maybe it would be nice to, and just ask the department heads first.
well, we actually, that does happen.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's actually one of the reasons why we have so many shared services, right? Like, we have,
Municipal court.
yep, the
Yeah.
court with Wyckoff, and, you know, and that came from our court administrator at the time.
Yeah.
And, Public Works with all of the shared services that we have with Ridgewood and with Fairlawn already, and the police, they do a lot of, they're looking all the time. for
Fire,
us, they're doing
ambulance,
fi-
yeah.
And fire, they do Hawthorne
Yeah.
and Ridgewood, and they have so many,
There's-
so many. But I'm just saying that it's not a bad idea, but they are constantly looking for those opportunities, but because of the opportunity, not the opportunity, but because of the situation with the Public Works facility, I think that it is in our best interest to explore, every possibility before we decide to go forward. I think we could do a little bit more due diligence in that regard. That's the way I feel about it, and at least exhaust everything before we decide to go forward with the multi-million-dollar.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but, you know, there's efficiencies that, you know, we can find even beyond just standard shared services. If, you know, we were to decide that a shared facility made sense, there are efficiencies from having everyone under the same roof, there are purchasing efficiencies. If we're trying to find ways to really keep the budget in check, I think that this is one way that we can, you know, find real ways to do something special.
Like, I do think the budget is in check,
Mhm.
but what worries me is, especially because we just got the notice that Christine forwarded to us from the mayor's group yesterday, that in fact, the health insurance is going up 36%. So that is huge, it's
Yeah.
just, it's, there's nothing we can do about that, and obviously, every year, cost of living goes up, insurance goes way up, and everyone wants to keep the same services, and it becomes more and more difficult. So in that regard, I share this idea that we should still kind of look outside the box and see where else we can find possibilities if it's in the borough's best interest. Okay, so, yes, I will, cause Bob is back from vacation, and, I'll talk to Christine about it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, I wanna skip over.
Maureen?
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I wanted to, address as the head of public safety, cause I know that a lot of people in town, I thought some people might be here to talk about this, but, I know there's a lot of concern about an individual who is currently in Glen Rock. And I just, first of all, I want to assure people that mayor and council share
Can
those
you just
concerns.
say what it is? and
So
people
this
don't know
is
what
a
you're
person, I'm sorry, if anyone does not know, a person who has been imprisoned in the past for stalking a woman in Glen Rock, has served their sentence and recently been released, and now is in Glen Rock and apparently is spending a lot of time kind of wandering around town and making a lot of people nervous because there has been publicity about his prior arrests and people are concerned about his being around and maybe, the concern that he would do something again. So I have spoken several times now to our police chief about that. He wants me to let everyone know that the police department is well aware of the situation. They have been speaking to the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, which is also well aware of the situation. There is currently, they're monitoring closely, and there is currently an ongoing criminal investigation of this man. And because there is, we are not really allowed to say much of anything because we don't want to imperil or jeopardize any prosecution coming out of that investigation. However, the police asked me to pass along, they want to assure everyone that they are very much aware of this and have close eyes on this individual. If anyone sees anything that makes them uncomfortable, they should reach out to the police, but the police are really on top of it. We have seen references to people being afraid to go to public places in town, and the police department really does want to assure everyone that this person does not have any history of violence, that there really is not a need for that kind of fear. Everyone is advised to go about their normal lives and activities, and like I said, if anything makes you uncomfortable, call the police, but please know that the police are on top of it and looking out for everyone's safety and addressing the situation.
Yeah, I think we should probably,
That's
Yeah.
all I have to say.
yeah.
Thank you, great. Right, and that people should go along with and feel comfortable going on with their day-to-day lives.
Exactly.
All right, does anyone have anything else? Maureen, do you have anything? No. Okay, well, we can go out to public if anyone has any questions, comments, anything you'd like to address. Yeah, go ahead.
Maureen Coglan, 54 Abington. Councilwoman Orlick, what you just said, spoke to the chief several times, we're in touch with the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, we're monitoring closely. It sounds very similar to the dialogue from last year with the basketball court, and I just think maybe we could get a police officer here to give us, remember at the meeting when Chief Ackerman spoke in September, and he gave us the detailed explanation of everything? After the fact, we should try to be proactive about this. As a woman and as a mother with 3 daughters, I think we need to be ahead of the curve on this.
And we certainly mean to be, and that's why we've been looking into it and on top of it, and I would encourage anyone who wants to talk to the police department to go ahead and do that. We
Okay.
certainly don't mean not to be proactive.
So I read something, I think it was yesterday, Summit has passed an ordinance prohibiting camping out, so maybe look into that.
What do you mean camping out, loitering?
Camping out, like sleeping on our train benches and sleeping in the school, sleeping in Wild Park.
Right, we have,
So-
go ahead.
Well, I did speak a little bit to Chief Ackerman about that, and he seems to think that there are real legal questions about whether you can do that in the state of New Jersey. It's something we can discuss with our lawyer and see.
It might be worth exploring, you know, talking to housing advocates, maybe there's something you can do to move somebody to a hospital or a homeless shelter, you know, it's worth looking into.
Mhm.
Are parents aware of the situation in general? I mean, is it general knowledge in town that there is this person out there that?
I think so.
It is, so that parents are aware to talk to their kids.
Well, just to be clear, you know, and this was stated, you know, this is just fact, I mean, this individual has been brought to all of our attention through social media and the victim, unfortunately. But just, you know, there are other individuals like this who live in our community. It just so happens that this one individual, everyone has their eyes on or is aware of. So it's important, to your point, that parents talk to their children about safety, about strangers, and about these situations, because unfortunately, these individuals live in our community and every community, and so, yes, to your point, I think that we should make sure that we have something on the books about camping out, about that. I know that, when I've spoken to the chief about the library before, they have said that when they've seen any individual there hanging around, they kind of shoo them away, things like that. So they do have a practice like that. We can definitely find out what it is more. Maybe we should look into if we have to put something on the books, maybe this to be proactive and to make sure that nothing happens in the future, or not, you know, that we can try to prevent
If
things in the
Memorial,
future.
Memorial.
But I just wanted to mention that unfortunately, you know, predators exist in
Like
more than just
if
this one.
Memorial has posted hours, it's the same 6 p.m. or wherever they are. What do they do if somebody's sleeping in Memorial?
It's arguably a trespass charge.
But my understanding is that what it means for the park to be closed at 9 p.m. is that you can't be there. So I believe that they would remove, you know, tell the
Yeah.
person they have to leave.
Right, on municipal properties.
Right.
Like, you know, any of our municipal
Doesn't
properties.
stop them from
parks,
sleeping in the train
buildings.
station.
The train station is different, cause
Right.
that's,
Right, exactly.
that's New Jersey
Right, and it
Transit.
doesn't close.
Right.
But that, I don't know I don't know what the law is for that.
I don't either, but our police are monitoring
Yeah.
all over. I mean, it's not like they've carved out an exception for the train station.
Yeah.
Are they still making runs through Wild Park?
Yeah.
You know, every day? Police?
I don't know the frequency. I know there's still heightened monitoring and the cameras are still going.
And that was kind of my question, like how much, we can put as much we want in writing and postings and try and put it out there on social media, which is how most of the parents are already in the know and having big conversations already. I'm just curious, not, and you know, to Maureen's point or Rob's point, just how much proactive stuff are we doing? Are there patrols at night with a police officer going? I mean, the train station, whether it's not necessarily that being locked at night our jurisdiction, it's more the train company, but is there a patrol car going around, just making sure that there's nobody in there, so no one's getting hurt? And also, and I bring it up only because it's not just for someone stalking that everyone's concerned about, but down by Faber Field, the bathroom, the water fountain's been covered with a garbage bag for the longest time. Like, I don't know how long that is, and I know last week during the games, the faucets were broken off, but the water was overflowing in the bathrooms. So I don't know who's monitoring our facilities in general in town. It seems like things are broken and not being carefully paid attention to. So now if you have someone lurking, that you just wanna make sure that someone's patrolling and just making all of our facilities and all of our people are being monitored
So
and
police
taken care of.
do always patrol at night as well as during the day, and now they are, like I said, very aware of this individual and particularly,
Okay.
you know,
But
keeping
also
eyes on
for the public to be vigilant also, I mean, you know,
Of
so many
course.
times you know, the police find out because someone calls or says, you know, by the way, at Faber Field, the fountain's overflowing, you know, those are things that, you know, maybe they were there an hour ago, they won't be back there for 8 hours, so, you know, or whatever, I don't know how often they patrol.
Yeah, that's
those,
more, just
you
do
know.
we have somebody on staff? I know we
Yeah,
have
it
shared
doesn't
services
hurt
with
to-
central dispatch too, so just make sure that there is a patrol car going around, and that they're at least
Well,
like,
there's
you know,
definitely
in town, you're like,
patrol
there's an
cars
incident
going
going
around.
on at Memorial or somewhere else, but they're only a few blocks away, like, we're on our way, we're already in the car, like, it's not like you have to wait to call it in and then a car to get dispatched.
Well, there's always,
an evening
there's a
patrol.
crew, there's
There
a
always are.
patrol crew 24/7.
And just to touch on one thing that you mentioned, Maria, the water fountain at Faber, I noticed the same thing. I had my son at soccer on Saturday. I've already been in touch with our recreation director, he's been in touch with Bob, our DPW director. It's being looked into. Part of the issue is what's been budgeted for what, and to find out how much it's going to be. It's actively being worked on.
Okay, yeah, and then the water, it was in the men's bathroom
Oh,
at Faber,
goodness.
so that I couldn't tell you what it looked like, but what I was told.
I can't
There
say I
was
went in
running
there on Saturday, but as far as, I'm sure that it's since been taken care of, the water that was in there. If it's
Okay.
not, I'll look into it either way. But the fountain itself, our recreation director is actively working on it.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else?
Tom Ludlam, 89 Yearwood Road. On September 10, 24 years ago, in the evening, I was preparing for a trial on the next day in Jersey City, September 11th. I drove down to Jersey City for my trial. I parked in the lot where I had to park, and I noticed there was smoke coming out of one of the World Trade Centers. A fellow parked next to me. He was the adversary, the other lawyer in my case, and I said, John, there's some smoke coming out of the World Trade Center. He said he heard a light plane or something crashed into it. We walked into the Brennan Courthouse, went up to the top floor to the assembled lawyers for the call of civil cases for the day. And I said to them, something hit the World Trade Center. So about half a dozen of us went the next room over to look at it. And as we're looking at it, the second tower exploded with flames on both sides as you're looking at it to the east. The pictures you all see show flames on all three sides on the images from that day. Why I'm telling you that is after that happened and after the court got out, a short while later, and John and I, he said he had binoculars, so we're both watching it, and I saw that second tower that was struck fall down. And I knew then I had to get home. So I went home a back roads way, but on the turnpike to come home. And when I got home to Glen Rock, there was a Easy Up tent at the Bergen station, and there's another Easy Up tent at the mainline station, and there were firefighters at one station and volunteer ambulance corps members at the other. I was a member of this council on that day, or that time. During the course of that afternoon and evening, numerous people of Glen Rock, we the people of Glen Rock, individuals though, went and brought, cases or 24 packs or 20 packs, whatever it was, of water for this side and that side, whatever they could do to help. That's the Glen Rock we're part of. As we get to this anniversary day tomorrow, I just remember that little piece of it. That's the Glen Rock that we are. That's the Glen Rock we aspire to be. And sometimes things come up in this town that are like, oh, geez, I think this way, I think that way. And that's fine, let's have those discussions. But let's also remember, we are Glen Rock. We watch out for each other, we care for each other. If a neighbor has a need, we try to help them. All those things that we did on that day and many other days unheralded, just so you know. But I'm remembering that with great fondness as to this town, Glen Rock, New Jersey.
Thank you so much.
Very well said, thank you.
It's really nice.
I'm not running for anything. I also have I should stop there, but I would hope that in the future when anyone talks, so that I know who's talking and where do they live. I mean, people know each other here.
I know.
And I know it's like,
we're-
oh,
we're-
Anna,
I'm
Anna.
a little used tonight, I know you too.
But even though it's colloquial and friendly,
Yes, no,
it's like
thank you.
important, I think, for everyone to know who's speaking from where. Just a recommendation.
No, well, that's actually the way that we have to do it.
I know that.
Okay.
Well, thank you, that was really nice. And, I'm Amanda Marvelous Benmiga. We live at 305 Rough Road, next to the library. And in the spirit of togetherness, we're just looking for transparency on what's happening at the library right now. And I was just wondering when the construction is starting. I know there's an extended bid and where we are in terms of
I don't know when the construction's starting. The bid was just awarded, I believe, in the last couple of weeks. The bid, as I told you at last meeting, that the bid that came in was under our threshold, just so that allowed us to award the contract. The money is there. We have the 2 grants, and then we also have the money the additional money, in case it was needed, that was budgeted by the borough, by the council, and as well as the trustees from the library. So the money is taken care of, and we have also been told by our grantors that they'll stay from it. So we're good there. Okay. Trying to think what your other question was from yesterday.
So I wrote a note, yesterday. My other concern was the money's being moved around from the capital account to the operating account to make this happen at the library.
No.
So where is the additional
So
money
the
coming
money is coming from the 2 grants and the council. The money that is in the capital fund from the friends, the trustees, is only to be used if it absolutely had to. And if that happens, the trustees voted on that money, I don't wanna say off the top of my head how much it was. I don't wanna say, I mean, it was upwards of 100,000. If they have to, they've already voted on that, so it's already been appropriated from the capital fund, and
But how much contingency does that, so with all the uncertainty going on, right, library funding's become a hot button issue for not only states but the federal government. So how does that, in terms of solvency going forward, right? They're gonna spend down this capital campaign and their furnaces catch fire like it did 16 years ago.
So the capital still has over 200,000 in it.
Okay, it does. And
That was one of the reasons why they didn't wanna do more than 100,000 for
Okay.
this, and that's why we kept the bid at the threshold that we did for this
Alright,
last round of bidding.
So that amount of money will keep the library sustained even if there's
Well, not
any
necessarily.
asbestos
If there's
found or
anything, God
anything
forbid,
else?
that happens, let's say all the boilers go out at the same time, or all those things happen, then the council will have to do an emergency appropriation. That's just what will have to happen.
Doesn't it seem like we're taking on more than we should in terms of additional funding? So shouldn't the,
We're not taking out any additional funding.
well, we're bonding for 100,000 of it, so
We're
that
not-
money's
we're
gonna
not
come from
bonding.
somewhere.
There's no bond.
Councilmember Martin, we authorized through a bond ordinance.
For for our portion,
Yes.
portion of
Yes.
it, yes, yes, but $750,000 in grant funding is, the vast majority of the project is being taken care of by grants.
Okay, cause on the latest paperwork we got, it was 500,000 and 199,000. So not the 250,000, so 50,000.
Well, that's because we've
somewhere.
already appropriated part of it for the architect.
Our concern is, I know this happened at the Oakland Public Library, that their renovation went far over budget, and it went far longer than anyone had anticipated. And our concern, being so close to the library and for our children's safety, is this gonna be some type of 5-year renovation project that is not correctly funded? It's just, it feels like a really close budget that, in these political times and also with the rising cost of product, that this is a considerate concern for, like,
Well,
our
we
family.
we have to.
And taxpayers.
We put this out to bid, and with the bid price threshold that we put out there was out of the advice of our architect. So they are experts, they do municipal buildings, that's what they do. They do, public buildings primarily. So they are the experts in this, so we have to, we have to go in with good faith that the money that we have allocated for this will fund the elevator, We're not doing a huge addition. This is an elevator. Now granted, it's complicated because of the location and things like that. It's a little more complex, I should say, but we've scaled back, so there's not as much that's happening. And, all I can say is, you know, we're going in good faith, and that's the best we can do. I mean, we can't assume that it's going to take 5 years. We are going to assume that it's going to take 9 months, which is what we have, what our timeline is.
But there's no disclosure of like a construction plan or who's managing that?
We send you construction plans, Ben.
No, like a budget in terms of like we're projecting the elevator to cost X. We think construction runtime for, you know, digging and excavation is gonna take Y, like
Well, that's the
whatever the
general
line chart would be.
contractor who was just hired. So they, you know, I'm not sure how those, you know, I'm not sure how the contractor who's been hired for this job will have his general, you know, people working with the architect, and, I would imagine that the trustees, if they so want, they can ask for those very close details if they're not provided. But as far as I'm concerned, the job was awarded to that contractor, and it's up to them to get it done within the timeline that we have given.
I think our suggestion would be, and since I've kind of been a little bit aware of this process now for the past 4 years, maybe it would be in everyone's best interest to have someone responsible for what's going on, because I know that in terms of the grants and the bids, like, this is kind of dragged on for a very long time, and maybe it's just because it hasn't been any one person's responsibility. And this is what I feel like we've come in over and over and over saying, who can we talk to? Who's the best person for this? And, you know, I know there's a lot of people responsible, which is great because this is such an important project for our town. But in terms of the responsibility, I do feel like someone needs to be held accountable. And when I'm at the trustee meetings and when I'm at the Friends meetings and I'm hearing what's going on, it feels a little bit like, I don't know, do you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on? And as a neighbor, that's not comforting to me. And I know that there's a lot of moving parts, and I respect that process. But in terms of being accountable for all of this money and all of this time, I think it would be in the best interest of all the people if there is someone we can be like, how's it going? What's going on? Last time there was a major renovation, there ended up being 17 like residential boilers put into the basement of the library. I'm just looking for someone who's gonna have their eye out for something like that so it doesn't happen again. I think if I were a part of this process originally, I probably would have looked at the floor plan as it stands and see, using the money that you have, how the space could have been better utilized. We are far past that now, and I hope that the space is the best it can be. I want that for everyone. But I think if there was one person seriously thinking about all the changes that were going on, maybe that would have been like considered earlier. So that's.
I mean, the other question too is like with that boiler fire that happened, right? You're connecting all these boilers, the wiring, the electrical use. We claim to be a green town and focused on energy, you know, conservation. Running 7 or 17 boilers and chillers in one building makes absolutely no sense. So in terms of that, like in terms of safety, you know, and we've talked about the fire egress door, the plastic sign on there is not gonna save anybody. Also the doorknob that's there, if it's hot or somebody can't turn it, it should be a paddle push door with wayfinding signage, and that is not there. So in terms of safety and planning ahead and thinking about, okay, here's how we should effectively spend the town's money and utilize this grant to the best of our ability, there seems like there's no plan in place. And it does not seem to me.
That's not true, Ben.
Well, I
That's
mean,
just not true.
It's
well,
not any grant. I mean,
these
you
got
had
these emails, so
specifically
wait,
for the
hold on, let me
elevator.
finish. This email that I've sent to you and Kristen and everybody has been sitting out here for almost 2 months. Nobody's replied to a single comment I have on there.
Ben, we sent you, okay, well, we can.
Amy, it's
I'm not
right,
gonna-
it's right
I'm not
here,
gonna
it's
discuss.
all timestamped and documented.
We have sent documents after documents, many, we've sent the plans. There's nothing that you don't know, that the trustees know, or that I know. We've been completely upfront and
Then how come
transparent.
nobody can answer these questions? It's about safety, it's about external
Because-
staircase, fire egress.
Because.
We have a lawyer
Ben,
that sits right here
Ben.
who can literally write as much as you want, and that's what we
Ben.
pay her for.
Ben, those questions have to be answered by an architect and an expert who knows. How could I possibly
So-
tell you what the correct standard
So
is?
if we have
for
good
a-
faith in this
a fire
architect and we're gonna
egress?
go on this journey together,
So
shouldn't he answer these
the
questions?
architect did answer a lot of those questions, and the library is, I'm not gonna go through all of this right now, but the library is up to standard. There's nothing that's out of standard.
With 17
and-
boilers that are connected to each other?
There's no code violations at the library. So if the library is a public building, it has to be inspected regularly. So, that's one thing. The other thing is, as far as the new construction with the elevator, everything, all the drawings were done by the architect who's an expert. Everything is up to snuff. Any changes that the public might think should happen, I think now that we are at the bidding process, and the bidding process is closed actually, and we're going to move forward with this, like we had talked, I don't think your idea about a push bar, even if the knob is legally viable, I think the push bar is a very good idea. These are things that I don't think I think we can address them with the architect and at the appropriate time when we get to that point. I mean, we're talking probably 6 or 8 months out before that.
But who is the person that's gonna be responsible to talk to? Is it gonna be you, or are you gonna be the project
Well,
liaison?
I'm absolutely not. I absolutely am not going to be the project liaison. That is the foreman and the general contractor for the job. The trustees are not experts either. We allocate, the trustees and what the council does is we allocate the funds for the project. Once the project goes out, it goes out to the experts. We can sign off on this looks good, the architect comes in, they show us the drawings, we go through the drawings, everything is up to snuff, then we go out to bid, and then if the contractor comes in within that bid threshold, then we sign off on it. We don't have we're not experts in this field, I'm a fundraiser. So, it wouldn't be appropriate for me, you wouldn't want someone like me overseeing a project like that.
Or we
that-
have $1 million
but that
at
is-
risk here, and
Of course.
nobody's
But-
taking.
But
it.
then, but you're assuming that the project's going on and you're just having people with hammers who are just going off with no direction. These are professionals who are doing this job and they're going off of the architectural drawings that have been signed off on. And not by us, they've been signed off by.
I'm in construction,
the-
I understand that. However, if a construction project is not managed, the costs overrun, which is gonna push more burden on the taxpayers, and it's gonna
But
hurt
I'm
the
sure,
patrons of the library.
I'll
In addition,
find out who the project foreman is for you, okay? There will be a project foreman, obviously, on this project by the people who won the bid.
but also like, what's the construction plan so the community can look at it, right? Because if somebody has to go to the library and, there's gonna be jackhammering that day, or that week, or that month, and somebody has, hearing issues or
Mhm.
sensitivity, like, people should know that. And the problem is there's been no transparency, in our opinion, and maybe yours is different, and that's fine, but the lack of a plan and the lack of forward thinking is not there. There's no concept of what does the capital look like in 6 months? How confident are we in this person? Because if there was, it wouldn't have taken so long for this grant to have come to this point where we have to spend the money by X date. It seems like it's all like, all right, we got this money, we gotta spend it, we gotta spend it, we gotta spend it. And we could have had this architect do this plan, do this design, probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever we were thinking about this grant. Once we got it, we should have been off running then. Now all of a sudden, we've kicked the can so far that we may lose the money. Or the money has to be appropriated, to whatever construction project, and we'll get taken advantage of.
I think ultimately the point where we are now
Bless
is
you.
if this were our house, right, and we were having a construction project going on, obviously, we're not an architect, right? We are not the authority on construction, but someone has to be responsible, right? Someone needs to answer the door and say, yes, this is going on, here's what this costs, and this is what we're looking to do. And I mean, now we've been asking for 6 months, like, can we just please have someone who is able to answer our questions when we ask, not just us, anybody, just we seem to be the only people who are interested in this, but it's still a cost and it's still something that is concerning, so if there was a person that would put a face to the project and maybe that would help manage the process, and right, when it's nobody's responsibility, then everyone can throw their hands up and be like, I didn't know, like, I thought the director was doing it, I thought the trustees were doing it, like, when I talk to the director, she says, oh, I trust the town council, but, like, no one is actually saying, like, this is what I believe, this is what we're doing, and here's what we're expecting to happen. Like, I'm just looking for someone who can.
Exactly those things.
But you are not gonna, like, field our
I'm not
questions
going to
as this is going
I'm
on,
not
right?
Because I'm not overseeing.
Correct, so
I'm not
is there
seeing
a
the over- the
person, can
day-to-day
there just be like a name?
Well, that's what I'm saying, so we, I don't have the name of the company that was awarded the bid.
I don't think we should have to be calling a contractor to check
There
in
should
on
be
the
somebody
library
in the
progress.
town who is responsible for making sure that this project gets done on time, under budget, and that the work milestones are being hit.
Like, who
Not-
talks to the press in terms of that, right? Like, is there a person who communicates that type of thing? Can that just be the person? I'm not looking for someone to, like, this is their thing, but someone should just be watching this closely, right? And I don't feel like there is that person.
Can I just join in?
Sure.
Rob Sada, 228 Hamilton. This is a general issue, where, okay, there's some concerns about something major going on in town. And it is true, it would be good for the residents to be comfortable, to think that they can come in here and ask a few questions. This may be a little bit more detailed than you're gonna have knowledge of, obviously, because you can't have the answers. But there's a liaison responsibility. I mean, in my opinion, the council they're the ultimate responsible for the library, for what's going on 175 Rock Road. We all have questions about, well, what's gonna happen when 175 is finished, and how is traffic gonna get in and out of there? I'm just using that as another type of situation where you're not communicating with the residents about all of these concerns that are going on. There's some real concerns, the stalker being one. I mean, that's a little bit too preliminary probably at this level, but there's a lot of stuff going on that the residents really need honest answers from the council. And to be able to come in
More
here.
specific?
Well, I'll go to
We're
175.
not being honest about it, I'm just.
No, I'm not saying you're not honest.
So you
I'm
just
just
said
saying
honest.
no.
You just said we're not being honest.
No, you are, I'm not questioning honesty.
Okay.
If I
Thanks.
misspoke,
I
I
just
misspoke.
wanna-
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
no. It's that you just don't know. You've approved a project, you've approved the library funding. Now you move on, you divorce yourself from that project and you move on, you do your other stuff. There has to be some kind of continuation of involvement because this thing is going on.
So
And a lot of people have a lot of questions.
Can I address that a little bit? Because I totally hear that people have questions And I will tell you, we get emails with questions on all kinds of topics all the time, and really, I spend a lot of time answering them, I assume we all do. I hear this about council not being transparent, and yet we do, when there is something that we know people are concerned about, we try to talk about it from here. We try to answer all the email questions. It sounds like with the library, I'm sorry you haven't been getting the answers you want, but I know there have been many public meetings and discussion, and we're always available to answer questions. The library director is always available to answer questions.
If people were gonna answer, I wouldn't be waiting 3 months on an email.
Well, it sounds like you have
I have
very
some.
specific questions that maybe you need to talk to the contractor about now that we're
I mean,
at the stage
so
where we
then,
have
so
them.
then just make somebody available. Don't we have a construction expert in this town that awarded these bids, who should have at least an idea of, hey, is this project going according? Is there asbestos there? Do we need to mitigate? How are we gonna protect, other people's property? Are we gonna put in protective fencing? Like, these are all common questions on a construction site. And you don't have to be, we have a DPW team, don't we? A few weeks ago at one of the other meetings, you guys talked about how you liaise with different departments, and you go to the chief of police if it's a community issue, and you go to, the fire if it's that issue. We have a DPW team, they fix it and they manage all sorts of construction, the sidewalks, everything else in this town. There's nobody in the DPW or within the greater community that we have a reach to that could help us with these questions or these concerns? Like, I just,
When the bathroom
I don't
renovations
understand.
happened at the library, the construction went on during the 4th of July parade. And whatever, we actually thought it was pretty funny, we're like laughing, like, oh, the library's
Just
like not taking a
embarrassing.
break, but like, we're your neighbor, right? Like, nobody knocked on our door and said like, hey, guess what, in the middle of your 4th of July parade, we're gonna be jackhammering, like, just to make you aware, like, who is that person who's responsible for the library, right? Like, Jill, I know that you like do so much, and I really appreciate all the grant work that you've all done to make this elevator happen. It's super important, and I love it. But ultimately, going forward, right, there's gonna be questions, there's gonna be concerns. This is just naturally part of the construction process. Like, we just need someone who's gonna watch this like it's important to them, not just let it happen and trust the process. Like, I would never trust the process in my own home renovation, because I care about it and it's my home. And the library is all of our home. And who is going to watch this, take care of this baby, because it's important.
Well, and so it sounds like you have gone to library board meetings, and I know from going to those meetings that board loves and cares about the library as if it was their own personal home, and that is how they're treating this project. It really is. So I understand that for people who are not on council, there are concerns about how council is handling things, but you can be sure that we really do stay on top of things. It's not that we put this on place and then moved on to the next
there's
thing.
no financial expert on that board. Somebody told me that bonding for money is free money. That was verbatim what somebody said. And I was shocked. I was like, don't people have mortgages? Don't people understand
Yeah,
how,
right.
like, so if somebody says that, how does that give you any confidence
It doesn't
that
make
this
me
is
feel
going
good,
to be
yeah.
managed effectively and appropriately? Because if there's any spillover, guess what? All of us share in the burden
Mhm.
because we're all taxpayers.
Right.
So if we have an Oakland project that goes on for 5 or 7 years, guess what? We are all now big shareholders in a library and we have enriched a contractor to no end. So it comes down to accountability. Who is accountable for the project and who is gonna effectively manage it? And look, it doesn't have to be somebody going over there and being like, hey, you need to use these 15 nails today and these 26 tomorrow. Like, yeah, you can, but like, there needs to be.
I understand that. I
Okay,
understand.
all right, I mean.
And, no, I do, and I will, I'm gonna talk to our architect, and I will find out who is going to be the general manager on the project.
Okay, because I think the community should know too what the construction plan is and how it's gonna play out, because if people use the library, and a lot of people do, they wanna know, is this section gonna be open, is this gonna be ripped apart, is there potential for asbestos or inhalants in the walls that you should be aware of, and how are we mitigating this? Like, it needs to be transparent, because that is a public building that a lot of people use and a lot of people like as a resource. So that's just,
I'll find out for you.
okay.
Thank you.
Could I just bring up, just one last thing on 175 Rock? What is the status of the development? What's the timeline? When do they figure things are gonna open, and do you know exactly what's gonna be in there yet, or besides the residential? But I understand there's commercial and so forth in there, but.
Probably hitting
do
us
we-
on a bad night when the mayor's out on sick
Well,
leave.
All right.
Probably have a
Sorry, I'm just
family
asking.
That's not
I get it,
we-
totally,
this is-
totally get it.
You know, I mean, it's not
That's
something we
okay.
have at our fingertips.
Cause I walk by there every day, so I,
Yeah,
you know, I'm
no,
also
of course,
looking at it.
we all do,
Just-
we all do,
right,
we're all in
exactly,
the same
exactly.
boat.
So
Do you
just as,
have-
just
do
as
you
a,
have-
I don't, what I was gonna say is really just that it's a private development, and unfortunately, we really don't have more information.
maybe for next meeting, you could have just an update as to.
On
this-
175?
Yeah, just a status report as to
Because
when they're
with
gonna
the
start
way
opening
it
up and
works,
stuff like that.
that I believe the way it works, Rob, is that, because the builders of it, and Ben, you may chime in on this, cause if you're a builder, you would know this. With a big project like 175, they are either going to, lease to a management firm,
Mhm.
which they most likely will do.
Sure.
I can't say for sure, but most likely that's what they will do. Once they build, they'll lease it to a management firm. And then they will, it is that, either that firm or the contractor who will solicit the retail. We have nothing to do with that. That doesn't come to the council to.
No, I didn't
to do.
imply that you were involved.
Right,
with
like,
it.
we
No, I'm
don't-
just
we don't
looking
have
for
anything to
just
do
a
with that.
status
But
of
Councilmember
where
Warren-
it stands, that's all.
Yeah, but we'll.
I
we'll find it.
think it's important, just a little clarity on it, because it is part, that project is part of a settlement agreement that we've entered
Yes.
into, et cetera. There hasn't been any proposal for a master lease of the building. I think what you were saying is, they'll have some kind of property manager or someone else that'll
Right.
solicit. There'll, there's usually a lease-up period where, there's going to be marketing for the inclusionary affordable units that are in the building. Those presumably will lease up faster. The retail always takes the longest to lease, but, I will pass along to Ms. Molyneux if we can get an update on inspections and whether COs have been applied for, sort of, where we are with any sort of construction
process.
approvals that have been granted. So we'll have that information.
That would be great. That would be great. Okay, does anyone else have anything? Okay, if,
I have, one
Go ahead,
thing,
Jen.
Councilmember, just for the leaf bid extension that, is on the agenda. This is the company that picks up our leaves and turns them into mulch, and we awarded that by public bid in 2023. It was extended once in 2024 on exactly the same terms. There's one more extension, there's a resolution in your packet to extend it, again, for the last extension that was permitted by the initial bid. The original draft of the resolution that went around had the per yard or per ton amount, and now it has also been updated to include a not to exceed number of $110,000 per year. That's based on the $102,000 that was spent in year one and the $108,000 that was incurred in year two, and obviously it depends on what the volume of the leaf pickup is. And just because Ms. Molyneux isn't here, she asked me to pass that information along to the council.
so then that's on the consent agenda. Okay, so we're good with that? Okay, great. If we have a couple of minutes, I have a couple of things for closed, so I was wondering if we could do a couple of minutes in closed session before we
Sure.
go into public?
I'll move to close out the executive meeting and move into close.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll kill them.
It's in the bathroom.
Maureen?
Yeah.
Okay,
We're not on.
we'll wait.
We're not?
No.
Hurry up and wait.
Hello. Oh, okay. Hello. That's the police. There we go.
Okay, are we on?
Yes.
And we're on. Okay,
Okay, there we go. Now we're on.
all right.
Who's black?
That's gonna drive me crazy. Can you turn the volume down? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the September 10th, 2025 public meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glen Rock. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was noticed in the Bergen Record and Star Ledger, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, posted on the borough website, and has remained continuously posted as per the required notices under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Jackie, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Martin,
Here.
Councilmember Gilbreth, Councilmember Orlick,
Here.
Councilmember Kopp,
Here.
Councilmember Rosansky,
Here.
Councilmember Rosenstein.
Here.
All right. And we will stand. I will ask Councilwoman Orlick to please lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, just a few announcements. We'd like to welcome everybody back from after hopefully a wonderful summer. And we would like to thank everyone at the pool, the incredible staff for all of their hard work and always making it such an enjoyable time there. Thank you so much. And all of the seasonal employees at the, who helped out this summer. Also would like to acknowledge that back to school is here, as many of us know. And the police department especially would like to make sure that everyone is using a lot of caution. I've started driving my daughter to high school, and it is crazy out there. So if everyone could take a deep breath and just slow down, everyone will get there on time. So please be careful. Also, tomorrow is 9/11, and as we commemorate the victims of that day, on that horrific day, we have our annual memorial ceremony that is hosted by Grace tomorrow, and I believe that is at 6:30 p.m. And please correct me if I'm wrong about that, it's not 6. I believe it is 6:30 tomorrow at Veterans Park. And I just wanted to take a small moment because we are also, because tomorrow is 9/11, and most of us remember the greatest recent act of mass violence to our country. And as it is also political season, I just wanted to mention and ask that today we are also reminded, as we should be every day, how violence is never okay, and that violence should never be used, and it is not emblematic of a civil society, and is certainly not emblematic of our society. And at especially a time when we're in this political season, our rights and privileges as Americans, and something that we hold so dear to our hearts, should never, ever be taken for granted. And again, violence is never the answer. So just wanted to make a point of that today because of what's in the news, and also it just happens way, way too often in our country, and we have to stop. We have to stop. Okay, thank you for that. I'd like to move on, please, to the consent agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Before we do the consent agenda, we do have 3 proclamations. And the first one I'd like to start with, and we'll go down the row as we usually do. This is, this first proclamation is in honor of, but it is for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And I'd like to start with Council Member Call.
Thank you. Whereas in 2012, President Obama proclaimed September as National Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to bring awareness to pediatric cancer, and whereas
Childhood Cancer Awareness Month is a time when we celebrate advances in childhood cancer treatment and survivorship care, remember the children we've lost, and engage new advocates to join in the mission of achieving a day when every child with cancer can live a long and healthy life, and
whereas cancer remains the leading cause of death by disease for children under the age of 14, and
whereas childhood cancer awareness emphasizes the importance of supporting research on these devastating conditions, and
Whereas survival rates continue to rise. In 1975, 61% of U.S. children with cancer survived. Today, 84% do. But 80% of childhood cancer cases are in the developing world, where survival averages 20%. And
whereas the public can be a part of the solution by taking action and reaching out to members of Congress, sharing your stories, and making donations to the many incredible hospitals and foundations that battle pediatric cancers, such as St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Memorial Sloan Kettering, and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, to name just a few.
now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glen Rock that September 2025 is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
be it further resolved that we encourage citizens, government agencies, private businesses, nonprofit organizations, the media, and other interested groups to increase awareness of what Americans can do to support the fight against childhood cancer.
Thank you, everyone. And now let's move to the recognition of Hunger Action Month. Councilman Rosenstein, would you start us off, please?
absolutely. Whereas hunger and food insecurity are a reality for far too many of our neighbors, and
Whereas those who are food insecure are without reliable access to an adequate amount of affordable, nutritious food, food insecurity can affect anyone, whether they are recently unemployed, underemployed, or supporting a large family. And
whereas food insecurity is a symptom of broader challenges, such as unemployment, disability, retirement, or unforeseen financial hardships, and
Whereas those who do not have their basic needs met are further hampered in their path towards self-sufficiency, and
whereas ongoing economic instability has increased food insecurity amongst individuals and families throughout Bergen County and across the country, and
whereas food pantries in Bergen County have experienced an approximately 22% increase in need for food assistance compared to last year, and a 40% increase in need from the unprecedented levels seen in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and
Whereas there are residents in every municipality in Bergen County who receive SNAP benefits, illustrating that this is an issue impacting residents across Bergen County. And
Whereas the economic coattails of the pandemic are long, and despite the end of federal and state emergency declarations, tremendous need still exists within our community. And
whereas the Bergen County Food Security Task Force was established to support food pantries in Bergen County by increasing the supply of healthy food options, connecting those in need to vital services, and investing in long-term infrastructure to build a more resilient pantry network to ensure no one in Bergen County goes hungry. And
whereas the Bergen County Food Security Task Force has been incorporated into the Department of Human Services as the new Office of Food Security to reaffirm that the county's commitment to fighting hunger continues past the pandemic. And
whereas the energy, philanthropy, and hands-on efforts of a multitude of volunteers throughout the country make a tremendous impact in combating hunger in our community and are vital in meeting the struggles of our neighbors with compassion. And
whereas the Borough of Glen Rock is fortunate to host the St. Catherine's Food Pantry within our municipality.
now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Glen Rock hereby recognizes the month of September 2025 as Hunger Action Month and encourages all Bergen County residents to support their local food pantries.
be it further resolved that this mayor and council are committed to ending hunger in Bergen County and will spread awareness and increase engagement in our community to solve this problem.
Thank you all. And we have one more proclamation tonight that is for Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and I'll start us off. Whereas September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, a time to raise awareness on this stigmatized and often too taboo topic. In addition to shifting public perception, we use this month to spread hope and vital information to people affected by suicide. And
whereas suicide is the second leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 34 and the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States. And
whereas 46% of people who die by suicide had a diagnosed medical condition, with 90% experiencing symptoms. And
whereas 78% of all people who die by suicide are male, with more women than men attempting suicide. And
whereas annually 4.8% of adults, 11.8% of young adults aged 18 to 25, 18.8% of high school students, and 46.8% of lesbian, gay, and bisexual high school students have serious thoughts of suicide in the U.S. And
whereas lesbian, gay, bisexual, you are 4 times more likely to attempt suicide than straight youth. Transgender adults are nearly 12 times more likely to attempt suicide than the general population. And
now therefore be it resolved that the Mayor and Council hereby recognize the month of September 2025 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in the Borough of Glen Rock and raise awareness on this stigmatized and often taboo topic. In addition to shifting public perception, we use this month to spread hope and vital information to people affected by suicide.
be it further resolved that this governing body is committed to ensuring that individuals, friends, and families have access to the resources that they need to discuss suicide prevention and to seek help.
great. Thank you all so much. All right, now we will move to the consent agenda.
All items listed are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Borough Council and will be approved by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member so requests it, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. The one motion signifies adoption of all resolutions, receive and file letters, correspondence, reports, and approval of application and minutes. Resolution 1 is for payment of bills. Resolution 2 is for approval of minutes. Resolution 3 is for attorney appropriation. Resolution 4 is for DPW hire. Resolution 5 is for updating policy and procedure manual. Resolution 6 is for extending the leaf bid. Resolution 7 is for Chapter 159 for school safety. And Resolution 8 is authorizing a professional service contract.
Great. Please call the roll.
Motion
Oh,
to
sorry, we
accept-
need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Gilbreath? Councilmember Orlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Call?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosansky?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosenstein?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, we only have one ordinance tonight. This is a final reading for ordinance number 1947. This is an ordinance fixing compensation of certain officers and employees of the borough. Can I please have a motion to open the public hearing for ordinance number 1947? Rob?
I'll
Do
make
you have
that
anything
motion.
to say? Okay,
I'll second.
thank you. Okay. Hearing and seeing no one, may I please have a motion to close the public meeting? Close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Now we will go ahead to motion to introduce ordinance number 1947. May I please have a motion?
I'll make that.
For the second reading, final reading.
I'll make that motion.
I second. I second.
An amendment to an ordinance to fix the compensation of certain officers and employees of the Borough of Glen Rock, Bergen County, New Jersey. Be passed upon second and final reading, and that the Borough Clerk being is hereby authorized and directed to advertise the same according to law by publishing the same by title in the Bergen Record.
Okay.
Councilmember Martin?
Thank you. Yes.
Councilmember Gilbreath? Councilmember Orlick?
Yes.
Councilmember Call?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosansky?
Yes.
Councilmember Rosenstein?
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance passes. All right, and at this time, we will open the meeting to the public. If any one person has anything to say, please come up to the podium. Okay, and with that, we have no one coming up to the podium for public. I would think that we are going to close the public meeting and we are going to go into closed session. May I please have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good night.